Thank you very much to both our guests today for taking the time out and talking to us about such an emerging problem within Pakistan and how to actually counter it and come across this, because the CVE and PVE space within Pakistan is something that there is a renewed conversation about, and there's a lot of discussion on how to actually tap into the right answers as well. But I'll start with you, Dr. McCauley. Is that how do we differentiate between extremist attitudes and extremist actions? And how do these both converge at some point, or is there even some convergence?
Well, in general, my view is that the relation between extreme ideas and extreme action is weak. It's very weak. I say that because we have polls and we know that there are many people with extreme ideas, hundreds, maybe thousands of people with extreme ideas for every one person who turns to extreme action. So that means that an attitude or an opinion or an extreme idea is a very weak guide, very weak predictor of extreme action. And furthermore, we know that there are many individuals who get involved in extreme action for personal reasons that have nothing to do with political ideas. Some people join a militant group because a friend or a relative is already militant and asks them to help. Some join because they are looking for status and power. Kind of people who might say, I always wanted a gun in my hands. And then there are people who join for escape. They're in some kind of trouble, family problems, legal problems with the police maybe. And they want to escape from the situation they're in, and they join a militant group to escape. And some people just join because they're in a strange place. They're new in town, they have no friends, and a militant offers friendship. So these are all personal reasons for joining a militant group. They're not ideological reasons. They're not extreme ideas reasons. And so on the one hand, we have very few people with extreme ideas ever act. And on the other hand, we know many people join in extreme action who have not had any extreme ideas. And you put these two facts together, and the conclusion is extreme ideas are only very weakly related to extreme action. And my conclusion from that is it's not very useful to target extreme ideas in an effort to get rid of or to reduce extreme action.
So when, Dr. McCauley, I'll come back to you, when she says that you have to connect, how do you connect? What are the frames of those connections?
Well, this is my colleague's line, more than mine, but I would say it's useful to start with the question, how do we consider the psychological origins? What are the psychological and emotional supports for terrorism or political violence? And to answer that question, I think we have to start from recognizing that terrorism and political violence is the result of an intergroup conflict. I say that, which seems kind of obvious, because many people try to analyze terrorists and political violent perpetrators as if we only need to understand them. But once you understand that terrorism is an expression of a political conflict, it means you have to recognize that you have to study both sides. You have to understand the terrorists and you have to understand the government that they're fighting against. It's a conflict. You can't understand if you study only one any more than you could understand a tennis match by focusing only on one player. And once you realize that, then the next thing to realize is where does the conflict come from? And psychologically it comes from love. Not from hate, but from love. It's the love of your own group, your religion, your ethnic group, your national group. And then with that love, if you see a threat to your people, harm to your people, victimization of your people, this produces anger, some fear, shame if you're not doing anything to help your people. And it's these emotions that power up and escalate the group conflict toward violence.
In terms of accountability, when we look at these plans and how they're framed within society and its actual implementation, technology plays a very deeper part of it. And one of the things that have changed for Pakistan when you look at the Pakistani context is that the violence in the first quarter of this century was basically much without the use of technology in almost every hand. And I'm referring to, social media as well as tools that are now being used for online, radicalization and conveying of propaganda from the terrorist side. How would we now at this point instance, when you go into review, sort of tackle it, because some of these plans that were made were probably like 10 years ago. There has been a review, but technology has been the changer.
The kind of technology that I worry about the most are videos that can be transmitted on everybody's cell phone. It used to be that there were journalists who told us what was happening. Now everybody's a journalist. Everybody with a cell phone is a journalist. And the pictures, and especially the videos of people suffering, are, I think, the greatest impetus to action, including violent action. I don't think there's a good way to make those videos go away. And what that means is that the technology is powering emotions. Those videos of victims and suffering, of the people that we care about, those are very powerful instruments for emotional stimulation. And it's those emotions that I was referring to earlier. There's anger, there's fear, there's humiliation. And these emotions power action and move people too often, to violence.
In terms of, countering propaganda and its psychological effects, what are the best practices then?
Well, the best answer that I can offer is we should be trying to argue against violence in particular. I don't think it's useful to try to convince people that the harm, the violence, the victimization that they see happening to their own people. I don't think it's very useful to try to persuade the viewers that their people are not suffering. But I think there is some chance of persuading people that the harm they see is not going to be helped by violence.